It looks like Errol Spence Jr., Terrence Bud Crawford is getting closer and closer by the day, as reported by Mike Coppinger, ESPN. Your boy George Kambosos at home in Australia just missed weight. He has 2 hours to get that done. Came in at 135.36, so just under a half a pound. And it's not about the fact that he missed the weight right now. Initially, he doesn't look that great on the scale. And we're going to talk about what's up next for Gervonta Tank Davis and Rolando Rolly Romero. This is your boy JG. This is the Punch Report. Let's get right into it. So like I said at the top, good news coming from ESPN today. A-side Errol, B-side Bud are getting closer and closer to a deal. We know what that means. Money, which was a question that people had, and it was stated that Crawford was asking for an astronomical amount of money, even more money than what would be necessary if he were the A-side, because this fight, in some people's opinion, is not at the magnitude of like a Mayweather-Pacquiao or even a Mayweather-Canelo when that fight took place, two of the highest grossing pay-per-view bouts to ever take place. But that aside, it seems like the gap is closing. So like I mentioned, we talk about money, we talk about venues. Is there going to be a rematch clause? Things of that nature. I've done multiple videos about how I feel like that fight will play out. You guys be sure to check those out. I actually made it a playlist, so it's easy to find. Errol Spence, Bud Crawford. A lot of good conversations about that fight. Shit ton of comments. A lot of people weighing in for one side or the other. Excuse me. And now that I'm on that topic, I did a video, and this is funny. I did a video where I asked if Errol Spence Jr. was hurt after taking like a glancing shot from heavy-handed Danny Garcia. The amount of people that came for me for simply asking a question was incredible. Listen, guys, I like Errol Spence Jr. I like Bud Crawford. They're both great fighters. I actually made my prediction. I'm not going to say it again. Go watch the video. Yep, you got to watch it to find out what it was. It's in the third video of the installment, the breakdown for those two fighters. But it's all good. I can ask questions. I had one cat said, I'm unsubscribing for this channel. Okay. I'll see you in a little bit, though. But as far as that fight's concerned, I imagine it's going to be in Vegas. I imagine the money will actually be close. In my opinion, it'll be like 60-40, something along those lines. I'm just speculating. I don't have any information or inside information. And I guess the thing I'm more curious about is, would there be a rematch clause in this particular bout? Both guys have intimated that they want to move up to 154. That would suggest that why rematch if one of us win, lose, or draw is going to move up to 154 pounds. We have to wait and see. Another thing that I've been thinking a lot about, I'll probably do a separate video about, is the condition of Errol Spence Jr. now. If you guys haven't done it already, I encourage you to rewatch Errol Spence Jr. Yordenis Ugas. Took place Saturday, April 16th, AT&T Stadium. Rewatch that fight. Errol Spence looked incredible. I thought he looked great anyway. I predicted him to win. Made multiple videos about that months out, that he would just pretty much destroy Yordenis Ugas. I actually called the doctor stoppage simply because Yordenis Ugas, one, had never been stopped, two, is a true warrior and a champion. But I digress. We have to start taking into consideration that this is the most consistent stretch of boxing that Errol Spence has been a part of. We know he had the car accident, came back, trained for Danny Garcia, fought Danny, trained for Manny Pacquiao, right, in shape, ready to go. They discover the eye injury. He has to pull out. He says, hey, I'm going to fight the winner, gets surgery, stays in shape, trains for the upcoming bout with Ugas. We know Ugas beat Pacquiao. Then he competes against Yordenis Ugas and caves his head in. And now we know, based on multiple appearances at multiple fights, that Errol Spence Jr. has maintained tremendous shape. And he has that momentum that he had going into the Sean Porter fight, where he was lining him up and knocking him down and looking great doing it. His focus is there. His nutrition is there. I love seeing the pictures with the family. Just let you know that, he's super insulated right now and focused on the task at hand. We know for a guy like Terrence Bud Crawford, he's always in shape. He's never not in shape. He doesn't have issues of note as far as his weight being concerned, or, losing focus in spots. He's ultra hyper competitive. If he's not in the gym training, he's helping to develop younger guys and point them in the right direction. So all signs point to green for this upcoming bout. I'm excited for it, and it's damn near go time. I mean, I can't wait for the announcement. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Moving right along. George Kambosos. You're at home, you know. Devin Haney had to take a pill, or excuse me, a deal with a poison pill in it. You know, he signed up to fight in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, Marvel Stadium, not once but twice, because it will be a second time, because he will get the victory tomorrow. I made a video, and for this video, I'll give you a short little breakdown about the 3 reasons why I feel like, you know, this is kind of going to be a non-competitive fight, and I think we're going to find out how tough George Kambosos is, because I feel like he's going to get battered. Shout out to my man Al. We were having a conversation about it. He said, you know, how do you see the, you know, the Haney Kambosos fight going? Devin Haney at 140 pounds, 135 pounds, for my money, has the fastest hands inside of the square circle. So you see dudes hit the mitts, you know, fuck up a heavy bag and be doing mad work, but it's the application of that speed in real time in combat scenarios and situations that sets Devin Haney apart, in my mind, from that speed perspective. The most complete fighter in and around those divisions, in my opinion, is Shakur Stevenson, because he doesn't make the defensive mistakes that Devin Haney makes, but he has the sharpness, the great jab, good size for the division. But for raw speed and delivering and applying that speed in combat situations, I got to give the nod to Devin Haney for that. The difference in the physical attributes between Haney and Kambosos, typically these things kind of don't matter, but when there's a massive skill discrepancy, and believe me, there's a skill discrepancy between Kambosos and Haney. You can get mad and talk about, oh, you puncher's chance, and you're right, a puncher's chance, and Devin Haney does have a glaring defensive weakness. I'm confident he'll shore that up. But the 3 things that Kambosos is going to have to deal with is Devin Haney's going to understand the concept of range, dominate the distance. He's going to have a very active, accurate jab, piston-like jab that he's going to have to work around, and the overall hand speed of a Devin Haney. Kambosos, those videos with his T-Rex arms pumping real fast, and he looked like a fake Manny Pacquiao. That's what's up. I think that's great and definitely looks good on tape. I don't think it's going to be enough if a guy like Devin Haney, with his skill set, everything in the toolbox, a glaring defensive, you know, issue off of his right-hand side, Jojo Diaz was able to land good shots, and we know he got hurt by Linares, had to take about a round and a half to recover and bounce back, but it's all similar delivery of shots. Kambosos throws hard. I wouldn't say he throws fast. I would say he throws very, very hard, pretty much everything hard. But I think the length, the skills, the abilities, the overall determination, and right now the mean streak of Devin Haney is going to be much too much for a guy like George Kambosos, and the fact that your ass missed weight at home in the comfort of your own home in your own backyard. And it's not about missing weight. You look bad. Your body looks squishy on the scales. And right now, if you're looking at a dude that's cut up like Devin Haney, and who with a little chip on his shoulder, it's not a good scenario for a guy like George Kambosos. I fully expect Devin Haney to go out there and put on Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez type performance, and it might be a little bit worse. It might be worse because Shakur Stevenson was having fun. He just knew he was putting in work. I could see Devin putting his foot on the gas if he can identify that Kambosos is hurt, or he's not throwing back, or defending himself intelligently. I can see Devin Haney taking advantage and possibly stopping a Kambosos. We will find out, not tomorrow. Well, tomorrow in Australia, but Saturday for us. That didn't make sense. It'll be Sunday in Australia when they fight. Saturday our time, prime time our time. We will find out how tough Kambosos is, because he's going to have to go through it to get to the end of this fight. Last and most certainly not least, for this video, Gervonta Tank Daivs, we know he scored a 6-round knockout over Rolando Rolly Romero just this past Saturday. Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York. What else can you say? I did a very short, it was like a 5-minute video, just kind of recapping the fight. Rewatched the fight. Rolly did a good job in that fight. What ends up happening, and I kind of mentioned this in the previous video, is the reality of the two fighters' skill set and experience begins to set in. So if you come out blazing, operating at a much higher clip than a lot of the experts and pundits expected, which Rolly did, oh shit, you know, he's doing his thing. Look, he's moving. He got a jab. You know, he's giving different looks and feints. You start to believe that, you know, this is going to work out. But after identifying patterns, which Tank did, starting to land the left hand at will, whether it was coming from a hook perspective or a straight shot from distance as a smaller fighter, and then getting patient with his boxing, it was pretty much the fourth round, in my opinion, was the beginning of the end for Rolly Romero. And if you take a look at the sequence in which he gets stopped, he's doing like a flare jab, so it just doesn't have a lot of zip or purpose behind it. And then he throws and lands a right hand. He's like, oh, he was feeling good. Throws a right hand, lands it. Then he steps in, closes the distance, no lead hand action. Tank just times it and destroys his face. Then he flops out of the ropes, looks crazy. Good stoppage by the ref. I don't want to say I questioned the stoppage initially, but I felt like Rolly could have continued. But after seeing the tape in several different angles, his legs were definitely toast. Very good stoppage. I firmly believe that the assessment that Tank Daivs made, that he said that if the ref allowed that to continue, he was leaving on the stretcher, was brutally accurate. His ass would have been leaving on the stretcher. And quite honestly, whether you like Rolly Romero or Tank or not or whatever, I'm not interested in seeing fighters leave on the stretcher if they don't have to. I'm not interested in that at all. What's next for Tank Daivs? It's looking like, in my opinion, unless they pull another one of these prospects or someone steps up to the plate, it's going to be a waiting game. He stated he wanted to see Devin Haney after some shit talking back and forth on the internet, but Haney legitimately is tied up. If he beats Kambosos, he got to do it again in Australia and then possibly fight Lomachenko, because they've already planted that in the deal down the road now that he's over with top rank. Lomachenko, is a top rank fighter. So Devin Haney is going to be tied up for the time being. And he's at 140, but we know Tank has competed at 140. He knocked out Mario Barrios to the body. Teofimo, whatever, and a great video today by Regis Prograde on Twitter. I'm going to put it in here.
All right, so I'm hearing all this shit about people calling people out and all this type of shit at 140 and all that. Look, nobody never say my fucking name. Be honest, you never hear nobody say my name at all. It's a reason, bro. I don't box niggas, bro. I fuck niggas up.
It's a great video. He's going hard, but he makes a great point. Guys in and around 140 pounds are not saying his name, but for Regis Prograde very specifically, I can see him be a 40-pounder or a 47-pounder, but I don't think he can make, the 35s of the world. And the smaller guys, I don't fault them for not wanting to come up and fight a dude that's disfiguring people, which is a point that he made in his video. Even Josh Taylor in victory, when he beat Regis Prograde, which was a super close fight in my opinion, a round or two, a shot here or there, it could go the other way. He lumped up Josh Taylor, who hasn't looked super great since then. We know he beat Ramirez, but then he had the Jack Catterall performance, and now he got to move up because he can't make weight. And then we just saw Regis Prograde with the Anthony McKenna fight. I think that was in Abu Dhabi, and he stopped him, got him out of there mercifully. The ref stepped in and said, "Look, man, you getting punched the fuck up a lot," and he stopped the fight. So shout out to Regis Prograde. I had to give that honorable mention. But for Tank Daivs, it is a true mystery what he's going to end up doing from a combat perspective. And at the moment of making this video, he is a free agent. We know that he's considering to re-sign with Floyd Mayweather Promotions, Showtime. There was a rumor of a DAZN deal that he quickly said, "I'm cool off Eddie Hearn. Please don't send me no bullshit like that." Gotta respect it. Rolly Romero, I think he put himself in a weird spot because he looked pretty good initially and showed some different wrinkles that he hadn't shown before. The guys who may have been trying to see him maybe beat Tank but then try to challenge him, you have to question now. He can punch. He showed, in my opinion, increased speed and a slight increase in technique. His weight distribution is still awful. A lot of weight on the back foot when he closes the distance. He has a terrible version of the shoulder roll. And if he has to widen his stance that wide to close the distance instead of moving his feet to get off the right hand from the overhand perspective, then he's going to get caught like that by high-level boxers a lot. He did lose to Jackson Morenas. Don't at me. Obviously, Tank Daivs has different type power. Timed him coming in against ropes, destroyed him, and promptly moved out of the way, and then went to celebrate. Shout out to Tank. Shout out to his mom. But let me know what you guys think. That's a lot of information. Definitely excited about the news with the Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford deal. We're going to find out here in a little bit. By the time I'm done with this video and getting it posted, it's possible that Kambosos may have made weight, but it's a compromising position he's now put himself in against a superior boxer with size attributes and a ridiculous skill set. And his body don't look good. He doesn't look sharp and crispy and cut up. He looks gooey and he missed weight. He been kicking it. And I'll even end with this. You guys go watch some of the interactions between the two. I don't ever want to call a professional prize fighter that's undefeated scared, but I think he's a little bit concerned. And I think it's going to show and prove when it comes to Saturday night when these two get in the ring undisputed. Marvel Stadium, Melbourne, Australia. Let's go. Special shout out to Inoue and Nonito Donaire. They fight on a Tuesday. Shout out to June 7th. But crazy fight between those two. The first time they fought, Cat just thought Nonito Donaire was going to get blown away. He didn't. He ended up breaking an orbital and a nose on Inoue and making that fight super competitive and compelling. He's gone on to get victory since then. They're rematching. For a short breakdown, because I haven't looked at a lot of tape, admittedly, on those two recently, I think Inoue's too young, too good, too versatile, and has just way more tools than Nonito Donaire right now. And I don't think you're going to see Donaire have the success that he had previously in those bouts. This is your boy, JG. This has been the Punch Report. I don't even know if I said at the beginning. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Please like, subscribe, bell icon for notification. Can't wait for this weekend of fights. We out.